Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to take a look at another horrible case with you. Bullying is something that gives some people pleasure by harassing others. But for the person who is bullied, it damages their mental health. The truth is that in most schools and colleges, many students either become victims of bullying or witness it with their own eyes. But in today's case, some kids crossed all limits of bullying, after which many anti-bullying initiatives were launched in Canada. This is the case that put Canadian authorities on a new mission: the 1997 murder of Reena Virk. In the 1970s, a Sikh boy from India named Manjit Virk worked for a pharmaceutical company in the country's capital, Delhi. Manjit Virk was handsome. His tall height and thick black hair added to his charm. But in April 1989, 22-year-old Manjit asked for 2 months' leave from his job to visit Canada to see his sister Amarjeet. As soon as Manjit got off the plane and sat in the car outside the airport, he liked the new country, the clean roads, the calm, carefree, and comfortable atmosphere on the way to his sister Amarjeet's house. Now Manjit was blending in with his sister's family and learning the Canadian way of life. A few days later, Amarjeet hosted a dinner at her home to introduce her brother to all her Canadian friends. Among these guests were Mukund and Tarsim Palan. In fact, the Palan family had been living in Canada since 1947, and the couple had 5 children who were all born in British Columbia. That evening, the Palan's 18-year-old daughter, Suman Palan, also came with her family. During dinner, Manjit and Suman started talking, and neither of them probably imagined that this conversation would go so far that they would now meet either at Manjit Virk's sister Amarjeet's house or in public parks. Before long, these sweet meetings turned into a very strong relationship that was almost impossible to break. But time also flew by with their relationship, and now Manjit had very few days left in Canada because his visit visa was about to expire. Manjit followed Sikhism, while Suman's family had at some point converted from Sikhism to Jehovah's Witnesses, so both of them knew there would be obstacles in their marriage. Suman's parents even feared that Manjit might want to marry their daughter just to get a Canadian passport. Yet, hiding from both families, Manjit and Suman got legally married on June 11, 1979, in Victoria, the capital city of British Columbia, Canada. For the sake of his love, Manjit even changed his religion after marriage and began attending the Jehovah's Witness Church with his wife, Suman. Later, both families accepted the marriage, and the couple was very happy in their life. Their happiness grew even more when, on March 10, 1983, their daughter Reena was born at Victoria's Royal Jubilee Hospital. About 2 years later, on June 24, 1985, another daughter was born whom they named Simran. Then, on February 25, 1988, Suman also gave birth to a son named Aman. And in this way, Manjit and Suman's family became a complete family. Since the family had grown, both Manjit Virk and Suman used to go to work and would give their eldest daughter Reena the responsibility of taking care of the other 2 children. The place where this family lived, the Saanich district of Victoria Island, is a very beautiful area. In the central part of Vancouver Island's Saanich, you can see peaceful, scenic beaches, rolling farms, natural beauty-filled mountains, beautiful restaurants, and the world-famous Butchert Gardens. This place is perfect both for permanent living and for vacationing. Because of this, both parents used to take all their children on picnics and to different places around Saanich from the beginning. But in the winter holidays of 1991, Manjit brought his family to his hometown in Punjab, India. He actually wanted to show his children the beauty of his country and his village, and during their stay in India, they had a really good time. But over time, Manjit and Suman noticed that their daughter Reena had become very quiet, and the smile on her face had disappeared. Besides this, Rina had also become quite irritable and would argue with her parents over every little thing. In the beginning, when Rina used to go to school, she was very happy and was smarter than many of the kids in her class. She even stopped going to church at the start of 1994 and didn't feel like studying at school anymore. But when Rina kept behaving like this for months, her parents realized that something was bothering her. After that, they started trying to find out the reason behind their daughter's anger, and after a lot of searching, they found out that some kids at school were bothering her. This wasn't anything new, in fact. At that time, in every corner of the world, many children faced bullying in school over their language, clothes, skin color, and things like that. And this still happens today. But Rina's case was different because she was taller and a little heavier than other girls, and her skin tone was also a bit darker than other Canadian kids. Because of this, the kids at her school had been bullying her for quite some time, and since Rina was growing up, this mistreatment really disturbed her. Plus, she didn't have any friends. Seeing their daughter's condition, her parents thought that maybe if they admitted her to another school, she might make some new friends there. Because of this, in May 1994, the Verk family shifted to a 3,000 square foot house on the other side of Saanich City. After that, they got Rina admitted to a new school near their new house, but even there, the situation didn't improve and, unfortunately, the bullying continued. Obviously, this upset Manjit and Suman a lot, so they asked the school principal for help. But after a few days, things went back to the same as before. After that, Manjit thought about going back to India, believing that living around their own people in his hometown, Punjab, would mean his daughter wouldn't have to face bullying. But Suman didn't agree with her husband's decision because she was born and raised in Canada, and she felt that leaving Canada's lifestyle and adjusting to village life with the kids would be difficult. So in the end, both husband and wife decided that they would stay in Canada and fight this problem. Time passed quickly, and at the start of 1996, Rina's father bought her a parrot, thinking that taking care of a pet would help her forget the mistreatment she faced. Rina named the parrot Smooch, and over time she became very attached to it. But in July 1996, when 13-year-old Rina got summer holidays from school, one day she went for a walk in the park near her house. That day in the park, she saw some kids smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol, and Rina found these kids very cool. These kids were actually school dropouts and irresponsible towards society. They used to come home late and also dated each other, even though they are below 18 at that time. Seeing all this, Rina too became attracted to their habits, and those kids included Rina in their group. But Rina's parents told her to be home before 9 p.m., while those other kids often stayed out all night. So now Rina also started getting irritated with her own household rules. Here, Suman and Manjit also tried several times to explain to Rina that bad company is harmful. But at that time, Rina didn't listen to a single thing her parents said and kept doing whatever she wanted. Meanwhile, Rina's friend from the park told her that if she listened to her, she should accuse her parents of beating her. She said she knew a girl who told the police there was inappropriate behavior at home, and the police immediately sent that girl to foster homes, where now she does whatever she wants. Hearing this, the next day, Rina told one of her friend's mothers that her parents harassed her. As soon as that woman heard this, she didn't check the facts at all, but took Rina straight to the police station and filed a complaint against her parents. Although the police questioned Rina's parents about it at the time, in the end they found no evidence. But after this, the police decided that Rina would live with her grandparents, Mukand and Tarsum Palin. Now, Rina also began telling her grandparents that her parents were very strict with her, would beat her for every little thing, and even that when she went to India, someone tried to force themselves on her. But when her grandmother insisted she name that person, she named her own father Manjit. As a result, in January 1997, Manjit Verk was also arrested by the police, although he completely denied the accusation and Suman supported him. But even so, after keeping Manjit in jail for one night, he was given a court date and told that both parents could not meet their daughter Rina until their court hearing. We can't even imagine what her parents must have felt at that time because of Rina's actions, but they were very worried about their daughter's bad behavior. However, after this incident, Rina's grandmother also began to doubt her statement that her parents used to beat her and that her father had tried to behave inappropriately with her. But when they tried to get the truth out of Rina, she got upset with her grandmother and tried to kill herself by cutting the vein in her wrist with a knife. After this, Rina once again went to the government authorities for help and told them her grandparents were also bothering her, so she wanted to stay in foster care. Then in May 1997, Rina got new foster parents. Foster parents are those individuals or couples who, with government permission, provide temporary care for children who cannot live with their biological parents. In return, people also get some money from the government, but perhaps Rina had imagined foster homes as paradise, though there too she was instructed to eat and sleep on time. Besides that, there were rules to help with chores like washing dishes and her own clothes, and Rina didn't like these tasks at all. While staying with her foster parents, one day Rina fell sick and no one gave her any medicine or took her to a doctor. At that moment, Rina thought that she had been more comfortable at her parents' home, where her mother did the cleaning and cooked meals for everyone. As a result, one day in September 1997, Rina decided to return home. She even withdrew the case of inappropriate behavior against her father, and after that the Saanich Police Department also removed Manjit Virk's criminal record. Now Rina was back home and only apologized to her father. She didn't really feel much remorse. Now Rina had come back home, but she had changed a lot over the past few months. She had started listening to rap music, wore clothes like boys, and even walked like them. Besides that, she had made several tattoos on her hands herself, using pen ink. In fact, she was now following all the habits of her addict friends just to stay close to them and always tried to please them. However, these very friends didn't treat her well. They would sometimes steal her money and sometimes abuse her while high. But even then, she always liked being with them. One day in October 1997, while her parents were away, Rina invited all her friends over to her house. Rina and her friends partied all night, and when the next day Manjit came home with his wife Suman, he noticed that his new video recorder was missing from the house. In addition, some of Suman's gold jewelry and about $500 had also been stolen from her closet. Seeing this made Manjit Virk and his wife Suman very angry, so despite Rina not wanting it, they went to the police station and filed a theft report against her friends. But later that same October, in the last week of the month, one day Rina asked her parents for money to buy cigarettes. When they refused, Rina got angry and, on one of her friend's suggestions, went to live in a group home. Group homes are actually government programs that, in many countries, provide assistance and housing to people with disabilities or those needing social support. These homes have all kinds of people and many live together in each house. But even there, Rina met some troubled kids her age who had criminal records and spent all day high. Now comes the date, November 14th, 1997. It was a Friday, and Rina came to meet her parents, saying she would spend that weekend with them. Hearing this made Manjit and Suman happy, and Rina played cards with her siblings, and the three of them planned to rent a movie to watch that night. But at 7 p.m., one of Rina's friends called her and invited her to a party, and on hearing about the party, Rina cancelled all the plans she had fixed with her family. After that, she got ready for the party and left the house right then. But around 9 p.m., she called home from a store's phone booth service and said, "The party is over, I'll be home by around 10 p.m. But time kept passing and soon it was 12 a.m., yet Rina hadn't come home. Seeing this made Rina's parents very worried, because even though Rina was a troubled child, she always came home at the time she told her parents. Manjit Virk first called the group home supervisor and asked about Rina, but the supervisor said that Rina wasn't there, and hearing this left Manjit and Suman shocked. But when Rena didn't come home that entire night between November the 14th and 15th, her parents went to the nearby police station to file a missing person report. The police officers there said that Rena lived in a group home and many kids had gone missing from there before but usually came back in a day or two, so they said they would wait 48 hours first, and only if Rena didn't return after that would they file the missing person report. But even then, Manjit Virk and his wife Suman set out to search the entire city for Rena, because after all, she was their daughter. Now, the date is November 17th, 1997, and it had been 3 days since Rena went missing. Meanwhile, rumors of a murder began spreading at the nearby Shoreline Middle School. It was being said that a girl's body was lying in the water near the Craigflower Bridge. Gradually, this talk even reached the teachers, but no one tried to find out anything from the kids, nor did they inform the police. In fact, a student named Kelly Ellard was proudly telling everyone that she had the biggest role in the murder, and that from now on everyone should call her Killer Kelly. But now comes November 21st, 1997, a week since Rena had gone missing, and finally a witness comes forward about her disappearance. Actually, a boy tells the police that on the night of November 14th, he had gone out for a walk when he saw 15-year-old Kelly Ellard near Craigflower Bridge. The boy also says that Kelly stopped him and told him she had just killed Rena Virk with Warren Glowatsky. After hearing all this, the police arrest Kelly and Warren Glowatsky. Additionally, detectives question students at Shoreline School, and one after another, 6 girls are arrested from there. Now, there were a total of 8 suspects in police custody, 7 girls, and the 8th was Warren Glowatsky. But as soon as they heard what that boy said, around 5 p.m. some police officers surveyed the area near Craigflower Bridge by helicopter. As a result, they soon saw Rena Virk's half-naked body floating in the river about 200 meters from the bridge. Even then, before declaring it officially, detectives asked Manjit Virk and Suman for a photo of Rena and compared it to the body found by the river. Manjit Virk wrote in his book, Rena, A Father's Story, that when they were told about Rena's murder, both husband and wife sat silently for a long time on their living room sofa, holding each other's hand in the same spot. Manjit further says that Rena was a 14-year-old girl who, like any teenager, was trying to find herself at that age, and at that time she was hungry for acceptance and her friends' love. Although she hurt her parents by falsely accusing them, in the end she was their daughter and she wasn't some professional criminal. No one deserves to die like that. After that, Rena's dead body was autopsied, and the doctor revealed that Rena Virk's body had so many injuries that they were comparable to what someone might get in a car accident. Deep shoe prints were pressed into her forehead and face, causing severe swelling in her brain. Besides this, doctors found a lot of water and small pebbles in Rena's lungs. The pathologist performing Rena's autopsy said that even if she hadn't drowned, the injuries on her body and the swelling in her brain were so severe that her survival was nearly impossible. After this, detectives also started interrogating those 6 kids, and under pressure they told the whole truth. They said that on the night of November 14th, about 10 to 12 kids aged between 14 and 16 were drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes near Craigflower Bridge. Among them was 14-year-old Rena, and suddenly a girl named Nicole Cook accused Rena of stealing her diary. She told Rena that she had stolen her phone diary and was secretly calling her boyfriend. Hearing this false accusation deeply upset Rena, and in anger she swore at Nicole. But Nicole also got angry at this insult and stubbed out her cigarette on Rena's forehead, and then Rena tried to run away to save herself. But 8 people from the group caught her and tricked her into falling to the ground. These 8 people included Nicole Cook, Missy Plyke, Nicole Patterson, Courtney Keith, Gail Ooms, Kelly Ellard, and Warren Glowatsky. After that, they all started kicking Rena, and this brutality went on for a total of 5 minutes. Rena lay on the ground begging them all for forgiveness, even though she hadn't really done anything that bad. But perhaps seeing Rena's condition, one of the attackers felt pity and stopped the others from beating the 3 of them. They all then left Rena alone and went their separate ways. A few seconds later, Rena, enduring the pain of her injuries, stood up and slowly began crossing the bridge step by step. But when she got off the bridge and turned slightly, she saw Warren Glowatsky and Kelly Ellard following right behind her. Seeing this, she panicked and tried to walk faster, but Warren and Kelly attacked Rena again. Rena fell to the ground once more, and this time they kicked her multiple times in the stomach and on her head. The attacks were so brutal that within seconds, Rena lost consciousness. After that, Warren and Kelly dragged Rena and threw her into the river. But when the salty river water hit Rena's wounds, she regained consciousness and began to struggle. But here Kelly pressed her foot on Rena's head to keep her face submerged so she would drown and die. Even after this, Kelly felt no remorse. Instead, after killing Rena, she took a cigarette from her pants and smoked it like some gangster. A few minutes later, Kelly and Warren both left Rena's body there and walked away. The shocking thing was that they had never even met Rena before. They had only joined that group that day to have some fun. When the first attack on Rena happened, both of them actively participated, and in the end it was the 2 of them who decided they had to kill Rena, or else she might go to the police about all of them. After hearing this whole story, the police prepared their charge sheet and presented the case in court. Then in February 1998, 6 girls were found guilty of assaulting Rena and injuring her body. But some of them were given only 2 months in jail and some up to a year. However, Warren Glowatsky's trial began in April 1999, and he admitted his guilt, which led to him being sentenced to life in prison in June 1999. But exactly 11 years later, in June 2010, he was permanently released. In fact, Rena's parents also helped a lot in Warren's release, and now you might be wondering why the victim, Rena's family, would help a killer. The reason behind this is that Warren was completely honest throughout the trial, and he even met Rena's parents and admitted his crime. He also said he deeply regretted killing an innocent young girl. After hearing all this, Manjit Virk and Suman told the court that Warren deserved another chance to fix his life. But things didn't go the same way with Kelly. She denied killing Rena in court. Although she avoided sentencing several times due to minor technicalities after multiple trials, in April 2005 she was finally sentenced to life in prison when she was 22 years old. As time passed, in 2017, Kelly Ellard began a relationship through letters with a man in a men's prison. Then when that man got out on parole, he was allowed to meet Kelly. But after that meeting, Kelly became pregnant in the women's prison. And in 2018, she gave birth to a boy inside the prison itself. Kelly also wanted to take advantage of this, and after the boy was born, when she applied for parole, it was approved. There isn't much online information about what she did after getting out of prison in 2018, but the most recent news about Kelly Ellard is from January 30th, 2025. That news reported that Kelly Ellard was once again arrested for violating her parole conditions. But the thing to think about is why the court handed down such light sentences to those who beat and killed Rena when 14-year-old Rena lost her life. Several books have been published about Rena Virk's case, among which Under the Bridge is the most famous. In addition, Suman and Manjit carried the grief of their daughter's murder in their hearts and led many anti-bullying campaigns. For many years, they educated high school students about the many harms of bullying, and Suman Virk developed several programs to address youth violence. She taught children to fight against bullying until her last breath. But on June 16, 2018, 58-year-old Suman Virk passed away. Manjit Virk still lives in Vancouver, British Columbia, and he wrote a detailed book about his daughter in which he shared many things from his heart. So with that, the Rihanna Verk murder case comes to an end right here. If you appreciate our efforts, like and share this video. If you haven't subscribed, do so now. Thank you.